Well, thank you for inviting me and Kristin here together. I'm a Tonic member with 4L Vision, so it's a great fit. I've also seen Anja König in the audience, who also was part of the foundation of the Bundesinitiative, so lots of knowledgeable impact people here in the room. So shoot us questions, and if we can't answer them now, we'll do that later. Anja is waving there, hi. Anna, Migrapreneur in itself and bureaucracy is a great impact case. When you mentioned, shall we talk here? My first impression was, you know, it's great if migrants start their own business for profit, obviously, and to, you know, they're very keen to do something entrepreneurial. So that's great. But is that the right place really to talk about impact investing? You know, my initial reaction was, shouldn't more established people in Germany look after impact investing more than you, the migrant community? But that's even better, obviously, if you are all looking at impact and really creating long-term sustainable businesses. I mean, after all, maybe that's the most important definition of impact, but I'll come to that in a minute. So yes, thanks for your kind introduction. I guess here today I mainly represent the single family office 4L Vision. The wealth owner that's behind it is a person called Ralf Suikat. You can find us on the internet, and 4L invests only in impact investing, and we have some 20 or so direct investments in social entrepreneurs, and also a portfolio of listed equities, which we ourselves select. But that's, I guess, not the focus here today. So apart from that, what we might also want to mention is an impact investing magazine. Also, Kristin works on that together. So we publish, although in German, a lot of information about impact investing, but maybe you find some of the sources also in English if you're not conversant in the German language. I'm a former banker and for over 25 years. And last I worked at Ernst & Young, EY, in the family office services side of things. So I am always representing from my business part the typical investor, the family offices that you are all looking for. And you just said family and friends is often the first money that the startup gets, probably rightly so, I guess, you know, because you don't go out yet, you don't raise funds externally, but you try and get them from your community. But as you said, for migrants, that can be very difficult, but it says family and friends. So, you know, friends also are there. And also maybe you should dive into the business angel community. Maybe one sentence here. You know, there are so many startup hubs with business angels in Germany now setting up. Very recently, I think you forwarded into the community already, the Fineo startup, what's it called, startup platform or something. They just started something, but there are impact hubs all over the place. There are, for example, Antropia and the Impact Factory in Duisburg, where I'm a mentor also, that's supported by the Haniel Foundation. There is Brück or Brick, only recently started. That's also a startup community in Essen, in the Rhine-Ruhr area, which is supported by the RAG Foundation. So there's lots of money behind it, and they cater for startups being or becoming investment ready. So maybe you guys who have your own startup should really look at all of those. But maybe to get started our own today, what is impact investing? I mean, there are several definitions around, but really Tonic is present here today with Kristin. So let's kind of take the Tonic definition, which is also the same of the Global Impact Investing Network, the GIN. And that is no surprise. GIN and Tonic always come together anyway, very often in life anyway, joke apart. Now, impact investing, to me, as an investor, is an investment strategy across all asset classes. So it's not one asset class that you can invest in, like real estate, listed equity, private equity, venture capital. It's an investment strategy that can in principle be applied across all asset classes. With impact investing, you want to achieve a market rate return, so a market rate financial return, which is comparable to that in the particular asset class that you are in. But, and that is the difference to normal investing, classical investing, it also comes with a positive social and or ecological return. So you are doing, as a social entrepreneur, you want to be doing good to the world or the ecology or the planet. So you want to create a sustainable solution. But you also want to combine it with a financial return. So why is that important? Because if you have no financial return, doing good would tend to be philanthropic activity, would be donating. And donations can, in the worst case, make people dependent on that money coming. So we believe, as an impact investor, we believe to create a sustainable business model, which in itself can earn a profit, is a kind of a better way, a more long-term way to create social businesses, if it's the combination of financial and social or ecological return. Impact investing always also comes with a clear intention of what you do and the additionality. So very basic in principle, if that startup wouldn't have received cash or capital from anybody else, the impact investor will give that additional capital. And it needs to be measurable, and the impact should be managed actively. Maybe Kristin goes on about that in a minute. So it's really the measuring and the management of that impact. So in a nutshell, if you are a venture capital fund, for example, and we have now in Germany, we have lots of impact venture funds like Revent Ventures, Planet A, Ecosia World Fund, Ananda Bonn Venture, some of those names you may have heard. They invest into those companies for profit, but also they then measure and track and manage the positive impact on the world. So that so much to the definition. Maybe you also asked, Anna, about the difference to ESG investing. I mean, ESG, ecological social governance investing, is basically clustering investments into a matrix. Basically, it relates to listed equities. But really, let's not dwell on with that. Really, impact investing, in my view, goes much further than ESG investing, because impact investing actually creates a positive return in the world, whereas ESG investing simply clusters things in good or bad, and is really not producing a positive return like you guys in your startups are doing to the world. So I wonder what else. Well, you mentioned the Bundesinitiative, but I'll stop in a minute. So that has developed since, when was it, 3 or 4 years ago, from the National Advisory Board of the Global Impact Initiative. So there is national advisory boards in many countries, and the German National Advisory Board founded itself as the Federal Initiative for Impact Investing. FINEO, which I mentioned earlier, the Bertelsmann Stiftung, BMW Foundation, and the Stifterverband have founded this. And this is really a community of impact investors which wants to kind of combine all parts of the society, not just investors and capital seeking companies, so capital seekers, capital providers, and intermediaries. It also integrates the whole, or attempts to integrate the whole impact investing community in Germany. Another group that should be interesting to you guys is the SEND, the Social Entrepreneurship Netzwerk Deutschland, which do also a lot of political work. And with the federal initiative having done quite a lot of political activities before the last general election, the subject of sustainable investing, the demand for sustainable impact funds has really reached politics and has reached, I live in North Rhine-Westphalia near Düsseldorf, has also reached the federal Landtage. So the current Landtag in Germany with CENT together, we are trying to develop, maybe it's early days, but we are trying to develop a social business fund. So a lot of activity in Germany on impact, but let me say, don't be overexcited. It is still a tiny little bubble. It is a small thing still. Impact investing is bigger in Anglo-Americas and in other countries in Europe. Maybe Anja can say a few words later if we want to. Still relatively small, but growing. So if you have, I'll conclude by saying, if you have an interesting impact investing case, you know, shout out, go to some of those communities that I just mentioned, Send, Impact Hubs, Antropia, Fineo, whatever, or pitch your case to impact investors like myself, like Kristin is representing with Tonic. So, and there are lots of individuals who are seeking investments in good and long-term sustainable investment models or business models. So try that, and you know, I shall stop here, but we have lots of questions, I'm sure, and I'll pass to Kristin. Yeah.